Oh. Hello. Here's a short morning yoga flow that's great for getting your day started. Let's begin in tabletop. In tabletop, we're stacking shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. There's an option to put a towel underneath your knees if you would like. As we come into tabletop, we're just checking in with our shoulders, checking in with the wrists. We're bearing weight for the first time in the day. Let's just make sure everything feels nice and warm. And once that feels good, we'll begin with a little cat-cow. So inhaling, the gaze shifts up. This is our cow pose. And exhaling, the gaze shifts toward the navel for our cat pose. Inhaling to cow. Exhaling back to cat. One more time. Coming to tabletop, just pedaling the mat for a brief moment. And then we head back toward our child's pose. In this child's pose, it's the first thing in the morning, so we're probably not coming in super deep. The hips might be lifted a little bit higher. Maybe the forehead is resting on the mat, maybe not. As we settle into this child's pose, we might be inviting the hands to start reaching out a little further, creating a stretch through the shoulder, a stretch through the side. And now we're going to shift where our body is connected on the ground. What we were just doing was all in the hands and feet flow region. So now as we come onto our backs, just a brief moment in constructive rest to get oriented toward the ground. And then from here, we come toward our reclining pigeon. So with the reclining pigeon, the right foot comes on top of the left thigh. And we have the option here to just apply a little bit of pressure with the right hand on the right thigh. Or if we would like to, we could also be lifting the left foot and interlacing our fingers underneath the left hamstring. The target here is stretched through the outside of the right hip. And then we'll switch sides, releasing the right foot, coming through constructive rest, left ankle on top of the right thigh. Once again, maybe we just take a little pulse here, checking in with this left hip. If we would like to, we can then lift the right foot, interlacing hands underneath right hamstring. And now we're targeting a stretch through the outside of the left hip. It feels so good. Such a nice way to start the day. Releasing our left foot, coming back through constructive rest. And now we come in for a knee hug. So I'm drawing the thighs toward the chest, wrapping my hands around my shins. In the knee hug, we're keeping our tailbone rooted toward the mat. We want this more in the hip extensors than the lower back. So we root the tailbone toward the earth. Now for our next position, we're coming toward a supine twist. If you have a pillow, this can be really nice in the morning to use the pillow for the twist. Coming from this knee hug, we can release the knees. So we're coming into a reverse tabletop. We have roughly 90 degrees here in the hips, 90 degrees in the knees, shins approximately parallel. And then we position the bolster pillow so the midpoint of the pillow is around the hip. Maybe the bolster pillow is a little bit further this way. And you can use any pillow that you would like. Anything that lifts the ground up to you just a little bit, so that as we slowly allow the thighs to come toward the pillow, they don't have to come all the way toward the ground. We're lifting the ground up to us just to reduce the intensity first thing in the morning. Now, as we come down, we have a couple options. We can place our left hand on the outside of the right thigh. We can also allow the hands to open up wide, getting a nice little stretch across the chest. Very good. To come out, slowly we'll lift the knees back to that reverse tabletop position. Maybe you enjoy a brief knee hug. And then we will position the bolster pillow on the opposite side, drawing the knees back up top. And then very slowly, being equally patient on this side, allowing the knees to come to the right, coming to rest on the pillow. Now, as the legs come down, it's very likely that this left shoulder has lifted, and that's okay. But what we want to do is we want to invite that left shoulder toward the ground. If it touches, great. If it doesn't, that's great. Either way, the intention is just that we're drawing that left shoulder toward the earth. Once here, right hand can come on top of left thigh, or we can open the hands, creating a little stretch across the chest. Gaze can be straight up. We can be looking through the right hand. Now we are going to be bringing the knees back up, taking one more knee hug. Releasing our shins, coming to constructive rest. We can take as much time as we would like in constructive rest. One option that's nice here is to windshield wiper the legs to the left a little bit, windshield wiper the legs to the right a little bit. Just continuing to open the hips in this morning flow. Now we can conclude this by rolling toward the fetal posture, using our hands to support ourselves as we come up to a seated position where we can take a couple centering breaths to conclude the practice. One thing that's worth noting here is that all of the positions that we're using, all of the poses, they're very well supported. Also, they're very low to the ground. And so what's important about this is that early in the morning, right after we've gotten out of bed, we're not risking a fall by overly challenging our balance. Thank you for checking out this morning flow. I hope you enjoyed it.